T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. Welcome to Trap Talk Reptile Podcast, episode 444 with demonic reptiles tonight. What is good, everybody? I'm your boy, MJ. Hope everyone's having a great and glorious Thursday night. And it's Thursday night, man. I am so stoked. If this is your first time hanging out with us, you're into keeping reptiles, breeding, or just admiring the pet side of things, cool, man. This is the podcast to be a part of. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. By doing that and selecting all, you'll be on top of every single piece of content I drop here on this YouTube channel. I drop 3 shows a week so far, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays. I do not miss. You can also listen to any Trap Talk Reptile podcast episode on all the major audio platforms for all you non-YouTubers out there. I know a lot of you guys just like to listen, respect. So if you're like to listen on Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, wherever, you can listen to Trap Talk Reptile podcast on any of those major platforms. All right. So shout out to all the early birds. I see you guys. Now, if you're out there looking for exclusive content, or if you like to get more out of what you see out of each episode, if you just want to support what I got going on, go down to the very first link you see in the description below. Click on it. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you're going to get tapped into a Discord, which taps in with just under 200 people, trappers, dedicated animal keepers. All right, but just so much longevity going on with a lot of the people part of the Trap family. So if you want to tap in with all these people and learn from the best and just network yourself, then don't skip by joining the Trap Talk Patreon family. All right, very first link in the description below. We also have an amazing Instagram group chat that's just cracking, just hilarious. So shout out to all the trappers, man. Shout out to my Patreon members. I love you guys. You guys are my heart. I really, really admire every single one of you, man. That's a fact. All right, so shout out to the Trap Talk family, coolest Patreon family in the game, and that's a fact. Shout out to USARK, because USARK's the coolest, period. Shout out to Phil Goss. Shout out to the entire USARK team. All right. If you have a reptile and you've been in the game for at least a year or so, or let's just say a day, you need to know what USARK is, and you should consider becoming a member. The numbers are super important when it comes to fighting legislations. Never know when this is going to hit your town. Don't want it to, but I'm just saying, be prepared, be aware. Shout out to USARK. Thank you again for everything that you do. And Phil Goss, you're the man. I do want to say that tonight's episode is brought to you by the homie TJ of TOFAUTI Royals of Africa. All right. One of my homies, but one of the best up-and-comers in the ball python game for sure. Ball pythons will be a meat and potatoes of a lot of topic of tonight's episode, but go look up my man TJ from TOFAUTI Royals of Africa. Tap into his Mandarin game because he has that true Mandarin. All right. Not to be slept on. Appreciate you so much, TJ. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Clutch, the sickest, the most advanced ball python organization app in the industry. Go check it out, especially if you're just coming in the game and you're trying to keep things on that high level tier. You know what I'm saying? Anti-bottom feeder. You are going to want to apply such an app, okay? Because it just makes everything more top tier, makes it easier, and it just puts some respect on your resume when it comes to you building one in the ball python game. So shout out to Justin, shout out to Sebastian, the entire Clutch team. Appreciate your support. And yeah, it's a fact. Last but not least, shout out to RGI, Rare Genetic Inc. You got them sheds, test them out. Stop waiting. Don't be Mark Bailey and have a million sheds in a goddamn Ziploc bag. You're not testing them. Go test them. And that goes to you too, Mark Bailey. Test those skin sheds, see what you got, and use RGI when you're doing it. They're the best. All right. They're the ones putting in the most research, most advanced research as far as what we have in store when it comes to shed testing. So Ben, looking forward to bringing you back on the show, geeking out with you. Okay, because more likely when I do bring you back and geek you out with you, it's going to be with this man, the guy who is the coolest. Can I call you the coolest geek in the world? Is that okay?
I think that's complimentary. Thank you.
Because you're handsome too for being a cool geek. You know what I mean? So
I'm old, but I'm handsome-ish.
You're keeping your age. I don't know. I don't know if you're going, like that Benjamin Button disease, but opposite. I feel like you're becoming younger. I don't know if it's you coming on the show. I don't know what it is, but you're looking great, bro. Good to see you.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you, man.
How you been?
Keeping busy, just trying to think of new creative things to do. It's skink breeding season, so I'm starting my day with flocks and I'm ending my day with flocks, so I'm exhausted.
Where's everything else as far as breeding right now? Like the boas, the ball pythons? I mean, you're not full force yet?
I got a few boa ovulations on the ground. I caught one yesterday. Ball pythons, I put like 5 clutches in the incubator over the last week of just some weird stuff I did on the off season a little bit. And honestly, I got things rotating in the building and I'm still waiting on eggs. So it's not like really heavy, but things are going to start happening pretty quick.
No shows right now for you. You're chilling right now, right?
No, January, I didn't do a single show, but I think I might head down to Knoxville and maybe Loveland, Colorado next month.
Wow. Okay. You ready for that?
Yeah, I like Colorado, man. Food's good.
Yeah. What do you know about tonight's guest, Lenny? He's been around for a while, and I've had him on the show, but I don't know what your relationship is with him. So this isn't like organized where like they're buddies. I have no clue, so I have to ask you. What do you know about Lenny from Demonic Reptiles?
At the shows. Cool. Yeah, a little bit about his work, but me, man, I like to kind of just wait until it happens. Get to know him as we go.
Hey, listen, shout out to everyone in the chat. If you think that tonight's episode is worthy of any super chat, or if you have an important question or a sick topic, drop that. Don't be shy. But seriously, shout out to everyone in the chats. You ready to get the show rocking? Because we got Lenny waiting, and I think you look, your drip's too fire to wait. So let's just get this going. All right, thumbs up from Dave, guys. Listen, do what you got to do to get your mind right. Do what you got to do to stay hydrated, because we're bringing on Lenny for the second time. Demonic Reptiles coming at you, episode 444 with Dave Levison, man. Let's go. Choo!
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we're live, episode 444 with Lenny, that round 2. What's good, Lenny?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good, man. Welcome back. You know Dave, right?
Yeah.
He says
What's
show.
up?
You guys know each other from the shows. What show would that be? Tinley, maybe, I'm guessing?
Tinley, I see him in Tinley, and I picked up a few Hets sunsets at a Fort Mill show, I believe.
Hets,
Yeah, that's Fort Mill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you been, man? What's going on? I mean, it's definitely been well over a year since you've been back on the show.
Yeah.
We stay in contact on IG and stuff, so we chit chat. But what's good, man? How's everything been? 2024, here we are, and last year was a trip, I'm sure. So catch us up, man. How you doing with times and everything?
Doing good, not bad. Just working and breeding snakes.
Anything that you're like current on, or like as far as like your projects, is everything up to date, or did you have to pivot at all, or because everything in the market's different with pricing and stuff. So I'm wondering what you're doing because of that, or are you just standing tall and just doing your thing?
So pretty much the last, I guess, year and a half, 2 years, I kind of just made the double hets and triple hets and quad stuff. This year is pretty much I have everything that I already made over the years, those triple hets and quad hets. So I'm pretty much breeding everything full force this year. The last few years it was more selective breeding and not really just making the quantity of animals, more of the quality and more holdback stuff.
So you're not just becoming an official meme page and not stopping breeding. Like you're Because people were wondering, because like, dude, I think you're fucking. I know what you got going on, but if people that are just new coming across your page might think that's all you do, but that's not definitely what all you do. But I'm just curious, like, what's
so the memes is, man, just being bored at work, slow at work. So just making memes, and it was cool, but kind of not liking it now because when I post a picture of a snake or something else, it gets no views at all. So it's kind of like it's not even being looked at. So I think I'm just gonna make maybe I don't know, a reptile or ball python meme Instagram and just put everything on over there.
Yeah, or because are you getting more views and stuff on your memes than you were on your snakes, or did you get more on your snakes?
Yeah, I'm getting tens to thousands of just views and likes and even new followers and everything. And I appreciate all that. But again, it's like I want to be a breeder. I don't want to be a meme guy.
I mean, Dave does both. I mean, he's epic at both.
I think there's room for both, man. I wouldn't change anything.
Not everyone could be Dave.
Because dude, every morning, I'm not gonna lie, I look forward to see what the fuck you're posting next, because it's crazy, bro. I mean, because it's like it all makes sense. Like it's kind of like when Dave drops a meme, but Dave privately drops memes now. You're not so open with dropping memes, are you, Dave? Like it's kind of like for the vault. I feel like
they're just too savage for everybody, so I just show a couple people.
No, but okay, let's get back to the projects that you are like getting to the fulfillment part of things, as far as that goes. What are these projects? What are some of the double, triple stuff that you've been sitting and building on?
So primarily I have a 2.4 of genetic stripe hypo clowns, triple heads. We have 1.2 with Enchi pastel yellow belly with Desigos hypo clowns. And then we have Desigos hypopods. Yeah, pretty much everything Desigos pod clown type stuff. We have other triple heads, and we have a couple of Xanthic pod stuff that have chocolate in it. So I kind of want to pivot to super chocolate Xanthic pods.
Nice.
I want to try that out. And I have a handful of paint stuff. I have a pair of het clowns, so double het paint clowns.
I would think, and I know it could just be a matter of time, but I would think I would see more fucking movement on the paint stuff by now. And I feel like I haven't. Like I feel like I'm waiting. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is there some like visual DG paint shit out there yet, or no? I mean, I'm not too sure. I'm not.
No, I seen a hypo paints, pretty much hypo paint and clown paints, and the only I believe recessive stuff I've seen of the paint with other combos, other recessives. I'm trying to work it into sunset. I'll be open. I'm trying to do paint sunsets. I want to see how that would look. I know a lot of people don't like the muddy brown snakes. I think the paint with sunset might make it dark. Because I like the super leopard sunset stuff. I like the dark sunsets. I'm not the bright sunset stuff is cool, but I like it dark.
And I'm curious, what is paint like? What's the effect of paint, like from what you guys seen?
Pretty much just pixelate the animal, kind of like just
like splots of paint. Is that what it's like supposed to be, or what do you mean?
I guess you could say something like that. It's not exactly like that. It just really reduce really granity. Yeah, pretty much really granity and reduce.
Yeah, it's almost like the marble gene in blood pythons.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
But no, I've always liked the gene. I kind of grew up around it in North Carolina. My buddy was working with it pretty early when it first got discovered, and I thought the supers with the yellow belly were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody did make a pie, and it wasn't too bad looking, and I'm sure there's some people hiding some stuff, in all honesty. But I think the best stuff's going to start coming over the next few years. Grant and Mary have regularly been doing amazing animals.
Mm-hmm.
Limey's got a few clown combos out for it already, so I like paint. Honestly, I feel like I'm like way behind. I've been talking about it for like over a decade, and I'm now just making my own Hets.
Yeah, it's like I got my stock from. I got my stock from Limey.
I think some of the very first conversations of paint came from Dave Levinson. Like I want to say back in Unfiltered, maybe like I've heard that from you from a long time now. I would say you brought it up another one too. I think your very first episode, but yeah, it's crazy. That was cool. It's crazy how such a gene could be like spoken about for years and years. And here I'm just even saying I haven't seen any movement yet. And I'm just wondering, like, is it gonna happen? And so I guess time will tell. You know what I mean?
I think what happened was it was like considered codom for a while, so you really couldn't see the single gene, and you kind of had to make a super out of it to make it look relevant. And I think that's what kind of happened over the years.
Yeah.
There were like small markers, little alien heads, a couple things about it, but as soon as you started comboing that out, that's like
you see it right away.
Yeah, it's gone. But I think that hurt the project a little bit early, but honestly, I think really what hurt it was just none were being made. We didn't really see any crazy combos, and there was so much other cool stuff going on in the hobby. Nobody wanted to put any time into it.
Yeah. Now, how much volume has dialed back as far as like your production goes with this year? Is everything the same? Are you breaking numbers, or are you going to be dialing back?
So this year I'm going full force again. The last 2 years I just hit the recessive doubles, triples, quad stuff, like to make it the hets. But this year I have a bunch of visuals up to size, a bunch of doubles up to size, and still making the quads and the triple heads, of course. But I'm going full steam ahead. Especially this year I got an ultrasound, so it's making things so much easier, and I'm not wasting males, and I can tell when females are ready to go. And yeah, I think the ultrasound's really helped me out a lot this year.
How many clutches are you looking to hit then this year? If your prediction.
I would say about 20 to 30 clutches.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I got rid of probably about 80 adult females in the last year. All single, double, and triple, and quad genes. If it wasn't recessive or had a recessive trait in it, I just dumped it. Yeah.
Dave, I have to ask you, since we're talking about productions of ball pythons, where are you at with that? And this year, are you just? I don't even know where you're at, like percentage wise. Like I have no clue what's going on with you this year.
I mean, it's always limited to how much food I can get in the building. So honestly, I know like a big part of my pairings right now, I'm putting the sunset on a lot of other like double recessives. Same thing where like it's a large collection. There's a lot of different directions I want to take it. Everything I'm even focusing on right now is what I want to do in 3 years.
Right.
And then, I'm going to make X-Mount for the pet market, man. I miss some of the classics. We got all these animals here. We got to do something with them. And a couple of them haven't bred in a couple of years. Morph Market's been picking up lately. And honestly, they're buying the weird stuff, man. Simple pies. They're buying like mystic potions, like a lot of that older school stuff people liked in the pet market. So
yeah,
I don't want to cut back on that part of the market where I think a lot of other people are. So I'm going to put some effort into that. But I'm going to be doing a lot of building for the future, especially with the way things are going right now.
And how are you with like fulfilling stuff for the pet market, Lenny? Are you like, you trying to avoid that? Like, or are you just strictly like high level type shit that you have going on? Or do you have other stuff that like kind of feeds other demographic of the hobby?
So I'm pretty much looking at it this way. So I'm whatever head-to-head pairings I'm doing with codoms, those 66, 50%, head pairings, those offspring are just going to be, those are going to be for the public, pretty much like the lower end stuff that I have. So yeah, I'm not too worried about just producing high end stuff. I know everyone wants a snake, and I know if I was, at a reptile show and I just wanted just a pet snake, I would like to be able to buy it something cheap, and affordable. So yeah.
I just feel like, and I'm obviously going to be in this position sooner than later as well, but when you have a normal looking triple het, 66% this and that, you're gonna have to put it for $40. Like
that's what it is. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So I'm not gonna shed test really anything unless it's like 4 genes and a female. Maybe I'll shed test something, but I'm just gonna, those are gonna be those pets type sale animals.
It's like because the competition's so crazy with pricing, where people rather not even pay for a het. Like they rather just fuck it, and which is crazy to me because a lot of stuff that I built came from just normal looking hets, like, you know what I mean? But hey, listen, to each their own. I guess it's a whole new way to kind of look at how to tackle things in the hobby now. Obviously Dave, I would say it's different. It was probably different for Dave as far as how people were coming into the game. Maybe for you, Dave, with social media, like the volume of people wasn't the same from what you saw maybe in 2010. Like, you probably seen progression and different changes of how people purchase snakes in the hobby, right? You would say?
Yeah, I mean, there's always different waves, and again, it depends on how everyone's doing. And then, We don't have a lot of money. We don't sell a lot of pets. When everyone's got money, we sell a ton of pets, and breeders make more money because we're spending money with other breeders when we make that money. I always go back to the pet market because we're so heavily into it right now.
Right.
But that money really does add up. It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, and I'd rather just be making high end all day. But no, I think there's just always been the waves, man. I think it's like every 5 years, every 6 years, there's a new wave. 5 or 6 strong years, a couple slow years, 5 or 6 strong years. So it's about the same, just producing different stuff now. Like I said, I fear we're going to start getting away from pets, and we're going to have to make new pets as a new pet quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, Lenny, I feel like, regardless of projects, there are just saturations of definitely other projects within the ball python game. So what are you doing other than you hatching out these holdbacks and whatnot? Are you not, other than you breeding the holdbacks you've been sitting on and whatnot, is there anything that you're planning ahead to maybe be different than others and whatnot? Like in 2024, how are you doing research? How are you figuring out what next move you possibly want to do and whatnot?
Pretty much just going on Morph Market and seeing what's out there, and whatever's out there, just try not to do what's out there.
That's great advice.
That's why I love chocolate. The codoms, my favorite gene out there. I love chocolate.
Wow.
So I've seen a bunch of chocolate pod stuff, and I'm not a big fan of this single gene chocolate pod, but I wonder if I could double up on the chocolate and make a super chocolate pod, how would that look? Also, I'm working some super chocolate genetic stripe stuff. So I'm really just trying to do things that I feel like, instead of just worry about all these single genes, what if we start stacking the supers to these recessives and supers to these codoms, and just try to do it that way? Because then, even when you breed it, you're gonna hit nothing but you won't hit any normals neither. So it's a lot of benefit, I feel like, going that route.
Yeah, and for people to actually catch on to that, like, it's still gonna give us a good amount of time within those double and triple recessive projects, because like you said, people aren't really stacking supers and producing them right now within those, not yet at least. But trust me, I'm gonna be one of them. I'll tell you that. I'm like right there. I can't fucking wait. And cool to hear that you got chocolate shit going on. But I don't know. Like, let me ask you, as far as something you don't have yet, is there anything that, like, are you even looking at considering tackling on a new project at this point, or are you kind of just set in your ways and don't have time for that?
As recessive stuff, there's not really anything out there. Like, I like the monarch a lot. I do like the monarch. I do work ultramel. I would like to dabble into monarch. But as there just recessive stuff, it's probably nothing really out there that I like. Codom wise, definitely want to get a lot of lace stuff. I have no lace. Definitely want to work some lace stuff.
Dave, what you have lace stuff going on too, right, Dave? Or correct me if I'm wrong.
Not a ton of it, but I am making it. Mainly just some simple combos with clowns, but I should have some more stuff coming up, and I really got to get that mixed into more animals. Just like you said, I think that's going to be a gene that's going to complement the paint project really nice, because what it does to one part of the body. And I talked to a couple of breeders about that 3 years ago, so hopefully they've already got the ingredients. We're going to see something soon.
Nice.
So sunset, huh?
Yes.
Okay, listen. All due respect, quite the foundation for a lot of many projects that have not hit the hobby yet, which I'm a found believer of that, right? But you are a fan of the dark stuff, obviously, so am I, right? But do you feel like normal sunsets will become at some point harder to sell than a clown is hard to sell right now, due to how ugly it gets as an adult?
So my sunset female right now is about 1,400 grams, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna say it's as bright as it was as a baby, but it's definitely not brown at all. But there is a lot of ugly brown dark one that looks like a really ugly dirty enchi, and not really a fan of it. That's the reason why when I picked up my sunset, I picked up a female, because what I want to do was do clown parts to it, and after seeing the clown part sunset, I'm glad I didn't go that route. I'm not a fan of that combo at all.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, because clown, like, say what you want, clown's still fucking very relevant, and it's still great foundation. Like, you can't just dump clown. No, that's stupid. Like, you just got to understand what it does now. But look at clown being sold for $40 and like as a normal price snake now. I want to say, right?
Yeah. So, and that's what it is. Like, the clown stuff is like I had a probably about 600-gram female clown. I brought to a show, and I just put it for $200. I just needed some money. I wanted it out, and that thing sat there for about 3 shows, and I still have it. So I don't, it wasn't moving neither. So I don't know what's really relevant right now as of clowns. I guess single gene clowns aren't even relevant anymore neither.
They're not throwaway animals, but they're just byproduct of making nicer animals.
Yeah.
And then you hope you get the right price on them, somebody wants them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like clowns, when they're first born, even like with pastel, they're such an impressive fucking cool thing, and it's and it's awesome, but it's like, wow, what happened after a couple years, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Sunset. Sunsets are ugly as shit. I'm telling you right now. I mean, it's cool that you got a nice looking one, but I got a pic from your fucking story of you posting like 3 adults, and I couldn't believe how fucking brown they all looked. That was the first time I've ever seen all adult sunsets in one pic, and I was like, it looks like 3 fucking huge turds.
It's funny. Only one of them was a sunset.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I posted it. Yep.
Why'd you do that to that snake?
That's what. And man, so many people hit me up like, "Oh, I didn't know you had the sunset stuff. Sunset clown. It was like a sunset clown hidden G Woma, which was only hidden G Woma clown." Yeah. And everyone was like, I didn't know you had it. It's like it's not sunset. It just looks like that, but it's not.
I'm just trying to avoid such a recessive that was at one. Just I know everything starts at a high price point, and it all drops down, right? But I mean, goddamn, like let's just be honest, like. Dude, you could get you could sell bells more than you could sell fucking clown at this point. You know what I mean? So it's like, I rather avoid, even though we all know everything goes down, I would rather avoid investing something that, first and foremost, if I don't like how it looks, that's just my personal taste, but also something that could potentially become a throwaway snake or a, what did you just call it right now? I don't want to call it throwaway. So what'd you call it, Dave? A byproduct? A byproduct. Yes. Yeah. And I guess at one point every project will become a byproduct, but maybe not. Like I said, look at bells; it holds its value. So I'm just trying. I know after coming into this, I know after having a podcast for the first couple of years, I thought nobody in this hobby does not have clown. Everyone, but then I found out some people never had clown and they don't work with it, and I'm like, wow, that's weird. But honestly, that's their choice because they never felt something about clown. So now I know that you just don't have to follow everybody. Is all I'm saying.
No. And so the way I got my sunset was pretty much, again, following everyone. Pretty much like, oh, it's hot. I need to get it. I need to work with it. Then that's why I grabbed the female, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I don't want to work with it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put it, shelf it, feed it, and then figure out what I want to do with it. And I guess the paint route is the only way I want to go with it because I've seen everything else out there pretty much. The lavenders, the ultramels, the pies, the clowns, the DGs. So I guess why not? It's sitting in a rack. Let's throw it to paint to see what happens. And if it comes out great, I did it. If it comes out shitty, you guys please don't waste your time then, But yeah. No, I agree. I pretty much bought it because, it was like the new thing on the block. Well, at the time, everyone was, bragging about these recessives. And I didn't have it in my collection. So I figured, let's put it in the collection. But yeah, it's not my main focus at all, sunset at all.
It sucks because I feel like people should really understand how I feel. And if I had sunset in my collection, I would be happy about it. But it all depends what I paid for it because I am kind of a bitter Sally when it comes to I dropped $9,500 for this snake. And next year it's this, and I'm trying to and I understand you can't avoid some of those situations. But fuck, I'm glad I did with Sunset because I know there was a time I was on Miguel's bumper about really wanting Sunset because I remember seeing them as babies. They're really impressive, and they still are. I think Hypo is going to say Sunset first.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
If you want to know what's going to take Sunset to the top, once it gets there, it's going to be Hypo for sure. So
yeah.
So I don't know, and I don't know. I think Hypo's already gaining more value over DG with time too.
I agree. Yeah.
It's making a comeback. What do you think about that, Dave? You've been around since the Hypo days and then DG days and now soon to be Hypo days again. What do you think?
I find the Hypo comeback to be a little comical, but it was well needed. It was one of those things we overlooked. And man, I'm hearing all this sunset chatter, and I'll be straight with you. I've heard this about so many projects in the past, and then they became valuable and everybody wanted them.
Yeah.
I think that sunset is just fine. I think that I actually kind of like that people don't want to get into sunset right now because it's going to give the guys in the project an advantage to get ahead of everybody else. I really love the puzzle that was made this past year. I thought that was way better looking than the sunset clown that was originally made. Justin's last video getting Hypo and DG in there. I mean, that animal was absolutely vibrant and glowing. And, when you talk about, worrying about a sunset being so cheap that, it's not going to sell next to your clown, I don't see that reality coming anytime soon because there's not enough being made, and there's always going to be people are going to want to add that to their collection.
Yeah,
so,
when I said that, I definitely don't mean anytime soon, by the way. I'm so sorry.
No, yeah, we got a hot minute on that. There's going to be a lot of other things that are probably at the same price that might be cheaper at that time. But no, man, I say stick with sunset. I think it's just going to be one of those genes. You got to figure out how to work it right. Like clown, we just did pastel early on. We did inchy early on. We did shit, man. What did we do? Spiders early on. We didn't really do shit with that project. Now, I will say I do like that. I want to see what the color maturity looks like. Somebody did talk a little shit about it, but I've never seen a sunset post that nobody talks shit about.
Yeah.
Right now, the only thing I can think of is like, God damn it, pastel. Like, why do you have to be there? Like that's in my initial thought. But I've had plenty of GHI Pastavis that just age fucking great with pastel. So you don't really know. All I know is I'm a big Cypress guy, and I see what Cypress is doing to sunset. So it's also a good glimpse into like, even if this doesn't work out, there's something there, And like I said, Hypo, man, Hypo's fucking king in this shit. I'm telling you right now. The Cypress, I mean, let's kind of talk about some of the codoms that a lot of people are just kind of just overlooking right now that you feel like are important. And if Dave, if you want to chime in on something that you feel like is a big, powerful, maybe slept on, incomplete dominant out in the ball python game.
Slept on. I mean, a lot of the Dan Wolf stuff back in the day, the Black Lace I thought was pretty cool. Trick's relevant again kind of right now, but you have that Quake project too, which I got some Quakes that I made heck clowns with. I'm probably going to do some puzzle heck Quakes in the next year. I don't know, man. I would say just like he said, I go on Morph Market, I see what the least amount of ads up for a codom are, I see how cool it looks, and shit gets overlooked sometimes.
Yeah, what about you, Lenny?
Man, maybe Mystic, maybe Phantom. I don't feel like they get like really played with a lot. I know that like Bell Complex and a lot of people don't want to work with them, but you don't really see a lot of Mystic and Phantom stuff. Well, stuff like that floating around.
We were talking about like kind of like stuff that's never really been slept on, but it has been slept on, such as Hypo. But what about true ghost stuff? Like, do you feel like that's a huge like project that someone has yet to just kind of explode on, and it's just a matter of time? But what's your guys' thoughts on true ghost?
I like it. Every time I see Limey's table, I like them. True Ghost I like True Ghost a lot. I think it can compete a little bit with DG and Hypo. I know it's a little bit of a different color palette, but I think it looks really clean.
Yeah. I think there's enough people buying in any project that there's going to be enough people out there liking it. I think True Ghost has been around for a while, and we still have a lot of stuff that needs to be done. With all these like double and quad hets we're talking right now, once everybody has the ingredients to make them, which a lot of people are getting there, it's going to be about how many codoms we get in there, like he said. So the reality is to hit some of these, let's say, Pompeii level animals with 5 genes in it on a triple or quad recessive. I mean, that could be 20 years down the road on some of that shit.
Yeah.
So, like I said, a lot of this has legs. Just got to be smart about what you're making right now.
And I don't know, man. You guys all know. We there's quite the technology out there for phones nowadays, but so many of these genes we talk about that might even look so amazing on YouTube or on your fucking Instagram, they don't compare to in person. And have any of you guys been to Justin's? Have you been?
No.
Okay, so that's the most I've ever seen like Hypo and Xantic together, was that being at his facility. And I got to tell you, man. Like, if that doesn't show you that age, okay, the future holds with these snakes growing, looking better with age. I think that's like, if we could start selling snakes like at that caliber, I think that's where the future is really headed with a lot of this shit. But obviously, what are those genes, right? Because I always thought DG was definitely one of those genes until I saw white lace, and then I'm like, oh my god, it's more white lace. I feel like, But I also think DG could be that gene with help of Hypo or something else, right? But dude, I'm looking at things that are big, that are older, with like, as far as like the potential of what I want to work with. Like, does it look really good as an adult? Then that's what I want to do, Yeah. And it's just only because just like that would be a huge selling factor, because for right now, the biggest thing that anyone talks shit about with ball pythons is how ugly they are as adults. like, oh yeah, give that thing 3 years, 4 years. That's always the go-to for someone talking shit on the outside looking in. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you right now, that's not the case with some of these double recessive, triple recessive adults that are out there right now. Shit that I've seen in person. And it's like that's what, but mostly that's what gets me excited about sticking around and never leaving the ball python game, because there's a transitioning happening as far as like the big powerful thing with a lot of these projects. So I can't wait.
Just a new standard, a new norm, man. I mean, this happens all the time for us. Again, it was the codom game for the longest time until it was the recessive game. It just all comes in waves. It's whatever looks the coolest people are going to want.
Yep. And so, Lenny, do you vend it or no?
Yeah, I vend pretty much a lot. I haven't vended quite as often because, again, the last year and a half, it's pretty much just a lot of holdback stuff. But yeah, I vend whenever I have a buddy who wants to vend. I'm always down to vend. I like vending. I like being around the public. I might not seem like that guy, but I actually do like to be around the public.
How do you like to price your stuff at a show? Like, is there anything that you like specifically do strategic wise to ensure you have like maybe a good show when it comes to sales? So
I price my stuff pretty much like what I think they go for until I go to a show and I'm like, am I fucking crazy? Because they're like, I'm like, these animals aren't worth what I'm putting them as. Like, to me, they are. But to everyone else around me, it's like $100, $150 cheaper. And I'm not that guy who try to overprice my stuff. I'm just thinking in my head, like, hey, the last time I did a show, it was this price. A month later, it's $100 less or $50 less. So it's kind of like I label all my stuff, price my stuff, bring it to a show, walk around, and I'm like, I gotta go back to my table and lower it. I don't have to. I can keep it higher because some of those people don't have a banner, don't have they're working on with deli cups. I have a display and everything, so I figured my stuff you might want to buy from me since my stuff looks better. But yeah, I kind of always go back and change prices because the prices change so often.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be straight because, even when you start doing shows in different states, you find that there's different price points in different states, weekend to weekend, so on and so forth. Me personally, I'm not going to keep on changing my prices every show. What I usually do is I let people know, hey, I walk the show. I do know there might be some stuff cheaper on other tables. If you want to work with me, just come talk to me and let me know what you saw. And if we can make it work, we'll make it work. But yeah, man, to have to change every show at this point, I mean, the reality is the market's always moving so much in the States, price always moves so much. Yeah. That's just too much work, man. I can't do that. I'm not writing them on there. I'm actually printing out labels.
No, you're right. Because even when me doing certain shows like different states, yeah, the prices are dramatically different from state to state, which is crazy.
Yeah, when I lived in New York, like, 2000s, late 2000s, I was actually driving to Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia every weekend for a show because the prices were actually lower up north. People were a little more competitive. There was more competition at the shows, bigger shows. Mm-hmm. I just kept going down south to the smaller shows, and I was actually making more money in the driver work.
It's funny you said that because when I was doing the White Plains shows, those were more expensive. And then when I moved down here, my prices were so used to the New York prices. But back down here, things sell quicker down here. Mm-hmm. Up in New York, no, it took a while. When I was vending in New York, it probably took me a whole year before I sold one animal. When I moved down here, I was making $1,000 first hour every show. So the sales are a lot better down here. Again, with the way the economy is, the shows haven't been the best, but still a lot better than what I experienced up in New York.
Yeah, I think what I found when I did the White Plains show, Hamburg and Long Island, that they wanted a familiar face to work with. And sometimes it literally took a year of just going there and not making a lot of sales before eventually they started picking up. I did like 3 Hamburgs in a row one time. I had a great selection, like 6 different species. Everything looked good. I sold no animals over 3 shows. Everybody around me was selling. I wasn't selling anything.
Yep. I know those days.
Yeah. And it's a good point Dave makes too, because especially if it's like shit, even only your second year around going to these shows, it takes a few years for people to understand that you're grounded and you're a booth that's always going to be there at that show. Because man, it's crazy. You would think, my memory, for as much weed as I smoke, my memory is pretty good. But I remember faces of people that I've seen at Pomona's before I even was a vendor there. And I'm like, damn, you've been like, you're always here. And like, they always have the same story too. Like, yeah, I just like to come and enjoy. And like, maybe they have 1 or 2, but they're just like people who always go to shows. Like it's like a lifestyle, you know what I mean? But it's also something where by you always being there, it's just that customer base only builds with time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But also too, it's kind of like up to the vending gods. You got to put in your licks, man. You got those days, if so, where you don't sell shit, to understand the like almost humility of like not selling anything, because it does kind of fuck with your pride a little bit when you don't sell anything. It kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it does. It does. You know, especially when you price certain stuff, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be able to sell this, you know, by end of Saturday, and it doesn't even move. And you're like, huh, that's cool. No, yeah, you're right.
Now, Dave, it was for both of you guys here, but you know, what's gonna be the strategy this year when it comes to shows? Like, let's just say you have a back-to-back shitty show, knock on wood. I mean, is it just fucking full force and still try to attack every show you possibly can, or are you guys gonna just fill it out altogether? What's going on? What's the strategy plan?
I mean, for me personally, I already have a routine. I have shows that I kind of know are my go-tos, and they've been pretty dependable over the last 10 years. So, you know, that alone, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I might not take as many chances I used to in new towns. Where back in the day, I used to take a lot of chances. But, you know, I'm going to go to the ones that have just been good for me over the years and just keep on repeating the process. If something changes, you know, maybe I'll change it up. But if anything, I might just add a couple if I find the right show.
Yeah. So recently, you guys probably noticed I changed my logo. So pretty much gonna do everything all new this year. New displays, new logo, new banner, new everything. Just make stuff a little bit more bigger and grander. But I'm gonna hit a lot of shows I haven't hit. A lot of different states I haven't hit. Because I'm just pretty much staying in North Carolina and South Carolina, maybe a little bit of Virginia. So I think I want to venture into Tennessee, Maryland, different states like that. Kind of push the demonic reptile name at shows.
No, you got to be fucking across the map. Then you got to come to Cali.
Man, I wouldn't mind, man. I wouldn't mind.
Dave's done it, and Dave, I need to get you. What do I got to do to get you back here this year? I mean, you were gone last year. You didn't come once, I don't think.
Yeah, it's been about a year. Yeah, I keep saying I'll be at the next one, and then the week of I won't show up. How about that?
I mean, let me know what I could do to help. I mean, you need boarding. I'll pick you up. Well, just tell me what you need.
Well, that's it. Okay, cool. Yeah, just yeah, that's perfect. Say no more. Yeah.
Very simple.
No, I mean, like, because I don't know. Listen, Dave, whatever it is that was maybe holding you back or could hold you back from coming to a West Coast show, let's just say that was out the door and you had all the help, all the finances covered, whatever, for you to come. Would you still would you make this a regular thing if that was the case?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I love coming to those shows. The atmosphere in California is different. Really, the only reason I missed the last couple of shows because my bow selection wasn't that great, and you know that's actually one of the things that limits how far I'm willing to drive for a show is how many bows I have for sale. Because that is honestly one species I always do very well with, and I'm willing to take a chance when I head to the West Coast with those guys.
Dude, you ain't kidding, man. I mean, I would say the snakes that people inquired the most at my booth were my super dwarf holdbacks that were all not for sale. And you know, everyone Googled over the fucking pieds, but no inquiries, hardly ever. Everybody wanted the shit that was the non-ball python. And then I talked to Mike Roscoe for a little bit, and you know, he said boas fucking kill it at Pomona and super shows. But my point, what I was getting at is, Lenny, like, you have people like Dave, you have Troy Schroeder, you have Josh from Ball Python Shed, who these fuckers commute all the way across the country and make this shit happen. So it's not impossible. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're really trying to get your name on that level, which I would love for that to be the case, man, you could do it, man. I would love to have you on the West Coast.
Yeah, if I had the stock like those guys, I wouldn't mind. But I don't want to be a bottom feeder.
Okay, hey, no, respect to that. But I want to say, is there something to where it's like somebody bringing too many snakes to a show? Is that a thing? That may be a stupid question, but can someone bring too many snakes to a show?
I don't think so. No.
I have doubles of everything behind the table a lot of times if I can. I bring what I can. I still want it to look like, you know, I don't like to have like 20 of the same thing on the table. I don't like 5 of the same thing. I just want a couple of it. You know, I hate to say it, but honestly, it creates a little more urgency in the buy when there's less on the table. If I got too many, people are willing to pass by a few times.
Yeah. Now, I mean, overall, like, let's kind of talk a little bit of Morph Market right now. You know, there's a lot of crazy new features that are now out there. You know, we'll get to the bottom feeder subject in just a minute, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like a lot of the people bitching about auctions, buy now features are first and foremost people who don't even really use the actual fucking morph. Like, it's just people who are just kind of like maybe hearing from someone that uses it that don't like it, and they just coattail that. But man, I want to get to the meat potatoes of someone who actually uses Morph Market and tell me what they feel about these features, and if you feel like they're a beneficial part of what's happening with Morph Market, like this is something that will stick, or do you feel like this shit will be like the other auctions that we once had on Facebook and whatnot, and it will fizzle down because it's not going to go nowhere? What's your guys' take right now on everything with Morph Market and these new features? Whoever wants to go first.
No, Lenny, I'll go after you.
I'm not a big fan of Morph Market at all, to be honest.
Whoa, why is that?
Look who's in charge of it. I'm not.
So you're cool with it when John was owning it.
Yeah.
Now Darian,
Yeah.
you don't want nothing to do with it.
No, I really, I just don't care much to be on the platform. I check if I want to buy something for somebody, I'll go on it. But for me to put my name on it, maybe when I have animals that are $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, yeah, it'd be easy to sell there at a show. But as of right now, I have no care to be on it or have a store on it right now.
Would you suggest someone struggling trying to sell snake to use the features? Like if they're listening and they're wondering, like let's just say someone just doesn't know anything about Morph Market and they're ready to sell snakes, but maybe they don't know how to sell snakes or they're not selling snakes. Do you recommend that feature for anyone new or anyone out there struggling? Or do you feel like,
I think it's, not bad. I don't know the price month by month or whatever it is. So depending on how much you're being charged to have it, it might not be worth it. It might be cheaper to go to a show and spend $80 for a table for the weekend, than spending $300 or whatever. I don't know what the prices are anymore. So it might be cheaper just to go to a show. Especially if you, as a new breeder, those margins to sell those animals will be pretty hard. So many people on it.
what you got?
But as for the auctions, I think they're, I'm not a big fan of auctions because I feel like it's wax the price and the market of the animal. But with the way the market is right now, I don't think it really matters. So, as long as it's down right now, I guess have the auctions. But if we go bounce back up, I think let's cut down on the auctions a bit. But, who am I to say?
Well, honestly, you're really not wrong on that because we've already gone through this phase in the hobby. We had auctions come up back in the day when the market slowed down. The reptile ring was killing it for the few vendors that were using it. You had Ben Siegel auctions popping up on Facebook at that point, and those are actually still thriving today. But, I think there's just certain things that go on them and certain things that don't. And there are some benefits that come from it. But, the whole thing is every time you sell an animal, it's a new customer. Regardless of how they got it, how much they got it for. I mean, it's still a good thing to have. You brought up like the different features on Morph Market. I think tackle anything. I think if there's two sites out there, use two sites if you like both the sites. We used to use Fauna, we used to use King Snake at the same time. When it comes to auctions, I wouldn't put, that's kind of up to you what you put up, man. It's your business. I would put things up there that I think are fair, that are going to go for a dollar amount in my head that I want. I'm probably not going to take my investment animals and throw them on there because I don't want to take away from an investment. Again, another Dan Wolf reference. A lot of people bought into Rio back then. A lot of people bought in big to those projects. And then when he decided to retire, he auctioned his whole collection off. And I think people were paying like $5,000, $10,000 in some of these jeans, and they went to auction for a few $100s a couple months later. So, anything you're going to put up in auction, just be fair to your customers and know that you're not going to bother anybody who's willing to invest with you, because if they see something that they invested with you and you put it at auction a month later, kind of takes away from their investment in their eyes if they thought they could have got it at a better deal. So, play with all these features. I think they're all good for your business, man. I mean, all businesses have this kind of stuff.
I think Darian should grow a fucking pair and take away the reserve. Make this shit like OG. Yeah. Make this shit like OG eBay days. Like no reserve, whatever it sells for, it sells for. You're the winner. Like that's exciting. I feel like, but also I get it. But hey, if that's what you want to, risk the auction for, then that's how it should be. I say fuck the reserve personally.
Yeah, I agree.
But listen, I also think it's just another. And I think Darian said it levels out some playing fields, which I do believe that it's just another way to sell some of this other stuff that we have. But man, you'd be surprised where you could sell snakes right now. Craigslist is popping. Like you just don't like you'd be surprised. You should use all platforms that you could possibly use for sure. So yeah, okay. So other than Morph Market, do you feel like there will be a competitor to Morph Market at some point? Because that was one of the biggest things I was kind of like, wow, there's investors gonna start something new and they're gonna take them out, and I'm like, wow, good luck with that, right? But for what regardless how you feel about Darien, what do you feel about Morph Market being the platform it is and what it does? Do you ever feel like anything could compete with that or take that over someday?
I think it's the juggernaut right now of the for sales online for reptiles. I don't think anyone can touch it or will touch it. Unless maybe Justin wants to do something like that. Someone like him, I don't believe anyone else could really back it up to do a Morph Market on that level. I think Morph Market's fine as what it does, but I think the person behind it just I'm again just not a big fan, but the platform itself I think is just the juggernaut of reptile sales platform.
I got to dig a little bit on this, Lenny, because like I would think you guys would have something like kind of in common, because you guys both fuck around and you guys are big jokesters. What is it? I'm just curious.
The difference about being a jokester, you could joke with me and I have no problem. You
right.
joke with someone else, you want to cry about it. That's my problem.
Oh, so him like for instance, if he heard this podcast, he'd probably go and ban you on Morph Market or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Not that he would. I'm just saying that's an example.
Oh, I'm sure it might happen.
That was an example.
I haven't posted that on there in years, but I'm sure it happened.
Well, I just had to ask. Dave loves him. Dave loves the guy.
I love everybody.
That is a fact. Dave really does.
I wish.
Hey, we're just shy of an hour deep, and I still have topics to get into. But Dave, I don't want to hog anything. Are you just enjoying the ride, or is there anything you want to jump into? And before you say anything, guys, over 100 people tapped in. Why the fuck is there 44 likes? This doesn't make sense. Like look at fucking Dave's attire. Can we please get the likes up right now? Especially if you're down with the memes from Demonic Reptiles, get the likes up right now. All right, let's get the likes up. But Dave, is there anything you want to chop it up with right now before I get into some other stuff?
I mean, man, keep on doing your thing. I mean, I got stuff I'll get into, but I'm just gonna go with the rhythm.
Oh, okay, but Dave, here's the thing: when we get to 2 hours, you go, well, unfortunately, I had like all this other stuff, and I don't want to do that to you right now. So I will keep going, but if there's something, just fucking.
I do peak on the second hour. I mean, we all know this, but I mean, here's a question because just not knowing your background. What year did you start buying into the hobby?
Cool.
2011.
Okay, tight. When did you make your biggest moves in your collection?
Probably 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago.
Just before COVID or during the COVID rush?
Before COVID.
All right, tight. What was the best thing you bought into before you got into COVID that you were happy about? Because I'm sure you got something at a good price before we got to that whole area.
Yeah, a bunch of DG females. I got
wow.
DG pastel entry females for $400 from Bavu.
Yep. No, that's tight, man.
Yeah.
I've always loved DG too. I'm surprised it took so long for the industry to catch on and start loving that gene too. And I really feel like just maybe in the next decade, every legit collection, probably every animal will be some kind of form of DG visually. But hopefully, I think that's the way to go.
Hey, drop some history for us real quick. Like, how far back does DG go? Does it have as much, history as Hypo? Like, are we talking about something that's been around just as long, or what's going on?
I mean, the rumor I heard, if my guy's right about finding it for the first time, it was found in 93.
That's
93 or 96. So, I mean, that's been around since the earliest genes. It was honestly one of the few first genes.
Now, Lenny, I got to ask you, because you're 9 to 5er, then you got the snakes, right? So you're not just a full-time meme and snake breeder, correct?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about, I mean, did you ever have a moment, even at the peak of your COVID, breeding years, that you could possibly do it full time, or do you always feel like doing it full time would never be your thing?
No, I feel like if everything I have right now were adults, I can do this full time.
And are you down to do it or no?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I have no problem doing it. That's primarily gold. I own 2 properties that are fully paid off, so I don't need to worry about a mortgage. So I'm good.
Damn. Hey, listen, your connection's super choppy. I'm gonna boot you. Come right back in. Go to that link I sent you. It's gonna bring you right back in. All right.
Okay.
All right. No, actually, Dave, I just want to talk to you privately. I'm just kidding.
Smooth, buddy, real smooth.
Hey, I like that, Mike. That's you did that quick. Cause remember, we have an idea, but then you just did that like during the intro.
Yeah, I had this little alligator on a stick, and I had a little duct tape. So yeah, got her done, buddy.
But listen, good to have you here, Dave. I'm glad you're chopping it up with us. Anything you want to say to the 100+ people in the building tonight who missed you?
I don't know. Just always enjoy to be back to these, man. I forget what the vibe is until I show back up. You know.
I will say you seem like you're like on some Quaaludes or something right now, but like not heavily, but you seem pretty calm. Like maybe you took an edible or something.
I'm exhausted. I thought this podcast started 2 hours ago because I'm always dumb and I don't know what's going on.
Is that why you're asking for the link?
Yeah, because I thought we were going on in 15 minutes because I usually go to YouTube and it said 6 p.m. And I'm like, okay, tight. And then I went back. It's like, 6 p.m. Pacific time. You know, YouTube just be messing with me. And then, yeah, I smoked a little pot before it. So, yeah.
All right. Lenny, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Tight. Now, okay, because I remember specifically on the very first episode that we had you on here, you were kind of like, yeah, you know, you're pretty good where you're at as far as a 9 to 5 goes. And I don't know if you like where you're at now with how things are. And if you ever like are even still considering or even wanting to do that at some point. So do you have that like plan, like of you maybe retiring at some point here soon and just focusing on the snakes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like to be gone with my job in probably about 2 years and just do the snakes. Again, I don't have a giant, bill for, I don't have I don't know if you guys heard me, but I don't have a mortgage or anything. So
Right.
To whole house, to take care of the whole house, probably about $300 a month. And I produce my own rodents, so probably about $300 more. So $500 a month, and I'm fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you own 2 properties, you said, right?
Yeah, I own 2. Which my girlfriend's mother lives at that one, so we could always sell that, have her move in, so it's not a big deal.
Where's your rodent facility at? Is it kind of nearby, or is it by the snakes? Where do you breed all the rodents at?
It's in the basement. I have an 1,800 square foot basement, so I have it in the basement.
Damn. And the rodents, man. How long have you been breeding your own rodents for?
Probably about 3 years.
Worth it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but it's a lot of work, dude. Like that's kind of like the backbreaking shit of keeping snakes that I've experienced so far was like maintaining and fucking producing a colony of rats and mice and shit. That shit was hard.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, I have Jeremy, and he does most of the maintenance for the rats. So Jeremy helps me with the rats.
Jeremy, the homie Jeremy, Brassman Jeremy.
Yeah.
Wow, no way. I forget you guys kind of live in the same state, or where you guys? How far are you guys from each other?
We are about 5 feet away. The bedroom next to my bedroom.
He lives with you?
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, no way.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. When did that happen?
Probably 2 years ago. Yeah.
And he merged his reptiles with yours, and you guys everything, or how's that working out? What's going on with that?
So I built up the basement for 2 rooms. So one room was gonna be just for adults, one room was gonna be for hatchlings. When he was gonna move in, I was like, hey bro, just do the hatchling room, put all your animals in the hatchling room. So when he moved out, that would potentially be the hatchling room, and my main room would just be for the adults.
Damn. And so Jeremy does all the rodents. That's it. That's his thing for you. Damn.
Yeah.
And so just rats, or what all you got going on? Just rat projects or
rats,
mice?
He breeds the mice for his colubrids, and we do a lot of ASFs.
Oh shit. So you do them all basically.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. And I don't know, like I've talked a lot about like not me personally, but there's people been on the show to claim that ASFs have just, for them, done way better production wise for their females by keeping them on just ASFs. What's your thoughts on that, Lenny? Like, do you have that same kind of belief as far as that goes with ball pythons, or no?
So we had 10 racks of rats. We are down to 1 4-foot draw of rats. We do everything ASF mainly. I feel like ASFs are better.
Wow. And what gives you that kind of theory?
So I feel like the poop isn't all mushy and creamy. I feel like it's more of a solid stool. I feel like the animals look brighter in a weird way. They seem brighter and more alert, more healthier. It's like it seems like they're ready for their meals. Unlike when I keep feeding rats, they just feel like they look stuffed. You know, at least with the ASFs, they look like they're, you know, digesting them quicker and, you know, able to take another meal. Instead of with the rats, I feel like the rats are maybe more fatter, maybe a little bit more unhealthier. Again, I'm just saying that. I'm not sure. I know snakes and ball pythons have been eating rats for years. I just feel like my snakes do a lot better on ASFs.
What do you think about that, Dave? The snake looking brighter off ASFs.
I mean, I'm kind of curious now that he's saying all this. I'm gonna have to start paying attention to my poops. I don't do as many as I used to. I actually cut them out completely. I think like in the state of Missouri, if you get caught, you get like a fine per animal. So I wasn't aware of that when I got here. So when I found that out, I ended up just getting rid of my whole colony, to be straight with you. But no, I mean, the animals do like them. I think it's a good size range. And honestly, I really like them for my baby boas. A lot of my baby boas, I was getting started in African toppers.
Yeah, so I mean, right now the game plan then is to have no rats. You're officially at some point going to phase out the rats completely, or you're going to always have maybe rats for a couple of the snakes, Lenny?
No, we're always gonna have rats. You know, I like using rats, especially, you know, if people are buying things for me. I think they're more of a accessibility to get rats than ASFs. So the stuff that I'm selling, I kind of want to put on the rats. All mice, something that, you know, someone. If I sell a snake to Georgia, ASFs are illegal in Georgia, so I don't want to send them a snake that they can't find food for them. You know, so I do want to keep some animals that, you know, that I'm selling at least on the rats, all mice.
Yeah, and because what's your take on people like being wary that they're gonna buy a snake that's on ASFs? Like they're like, oh, it's on ASFs, I can't get ASFs in my area.
I think if that's the question, you know, because I had to think about that myself. Because if I was feeding everything ASFs and I sent it to Georgia and they're like, oh, snake's not eating, feed ASFs, and like, well, we can't get it here. Then that's pretty shitty, I guess, on my end, even though they didn't ask the question. But I just feel like, you know, I would feel bad, so I didn't want to run into that situation like that. So I would kind of like ask them, hey, what are you expecting from this snake? Are you expecting to eat frozen? Are you expecting to eat live? You know, I'm not trying to put animals on frozen because I have such a large collection. But it's something that you put a deposit on. I have no problem, you know, trying to feed it frozen as long as possible until it takes it.
And Dave, has that been like a big pushback thing for you at all? I'm just curious because you've sold quite a bit of snakes in your time. So if someone's like not happy with either the diet or the preference of how you're feeding your snake, they don't buy the snake, and you take that for account, or?
I mean, I was kind of the same way Lenny was. I'd hate to get it on a flavor and then they can't get the flavor. But then, you know, again, I haven't had them here in like 4 years at least. And where, you know, they kind of came in handy, or at least I thought they came in handy.
Right.
I mean, we're still surviving without them. I don't know how necessary they are. And yeah, I wouldn't want to try to get a baby going on it. I honestly think mice do just as well. I think it has more to do with the movement of the animal and less about the smell.
Yeah, I was tripping out in the last episode. Well, Monday night, I was talking about how since I've recently switched to like primary mice for some of my raise up ball pythons, like normally I switch them over to rats as soon as possible, but I've been trying this whole mice thing, and I noticed they're either shitting out or spitting out fucking fur balls, like white little like things that white lips do. I don't know if you guys kept white lips, but white lips do this all the time. They'll like, there's like a dread, like a little knotty dreadlock of a fucking mice hair or something. And I never had that with the rats, but now I'm starting to see these little weird poops or throw ups or whatever with keeping them on just in mice. And I don't know what that is. And I don't know. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, I see you mentioned that. I run into the same situation sometimes with the mice. I don't know why, but I noticed one thing. I had a fan that was blowing on a rack, and the top 3 snakes would keep like regurging a little bit, and it wasn't a full regurge. It's more like what you're saying about the hairball type situation. Then I noticed that those tubs are colder because the fan was blowing on them. So maybe depending on what's throwing it up or what's throwing up the hairball, maybe it's a little cooler. The snakes that you have in those tubs, maybe.
Huh. I mean, I haven't touched. I haven't adjusted anything. I mean, I kept them what I keep them at. I think they're at 87. I think I keep my ball pythons at my babies at 87, 88. But yeah, I'll look into it. I guess it's weird.
Yeah, cause I keep mine around the same thing, around 90 degrees, but with that fan blowing on it, which I wasn't thinking, it was actually sitting at 85 because the fan was blowing on it. Because it was the height. It was like, yeah. So I recently moved that fan over there, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of cold, these snakes, and I realized, yeah, the fan's blowing on it, and that's kind of why they were having those bad, regurges or hairballs.
Yeah. Do you use an ultrasound at all, Lenny?
Yeah.
And how long have you been using it? Like, how long have you been using it, and when do you use it?
So I got it last year. Started ultrasound stuff last year, and I'm strictly using it this year. Last year I was still doing a lot of the palpating and the ultrasound. This year I do it once a month. So I'll ultrasound everything once a month. The cool thing about it was last year when I was messing around with the ultrasound, I actually found a girl that I would be breeding this year. I actually bred her last year because she had follicles. And if I didn't have the ultrasound, I would have bred her this year. So I was able to get an extra clutch, because of the ultrasound. So I feel like a lot. I'm not wasting, males on random females. I feel like everything just works really well with the ultrasound.
I mean, I think
Definitely
that's
a game changer in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and Dave, are you big keen on ultrasounding yourself?
Yeah, honestly, I do the ball pythons once a month. Just again, know which ones are moving good, ones that aren't. Don't want to waste the time if I don't have to. I need to know where the food needs to go. Boas are the only ones I don't want to be married to. I like to do it at the beginning of my season and then like midway through to see if anybody reabsorbed. But with boas, honestly, I just like to kind of see what the animals are doing.
So you're more of a eyeballing type of thing with the boas, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people that would like model their seasons around what the ultrasound was saying, and where I think that is very effective in ball pythons and boas. I still think you got to let the animals do it for you.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I already told. I promised myself I'm gonna buy an ultrasound this year, but I know it's for these guys. I mean, I don't like. I'm so comfortable just looking at what I see with ball pythons and just going with that. And also, I don't have males going to like fucking 8, 9 females at all. Like, so it's really just it happens if it happens type of thing. But also, I do know it's quite the tool to have under your belt. Like, if you can use an ultrasound, that's pretty cool. First and foremost, and also it doesn't hurt to have. Period. But it's like, when do you guys feel like someone should invest in an ultrasound? Before they start breeding snakes, or
you want to go first, Dave?
I mean, honestly, when you need it, I do think that, I mean, you could buy a cheap one for $1,200. That's very effective for what you need, and call that your training wheels if you want to get a better one later. But I mean, I think ball pythons are a fairly easy species, especially if you don't have to, take one male and push them too far. Just by the way they're feeding, the way they look, wrapping the water bowls, their pre-ovulation glow, all the old school things we used to do. But again, I mean, the ultrasound's kind of fun, man. I enjoy going through. I get excited when I see a big jump in follicles, and I hate palpitating. I never really had a feel for that.
Obviously you hear like a lot of things that people go through. You guys hear like, for instance, like males that go off food during breeding, or like, for instance, 1,000-gram walls, like all these things that kind of like could stop your breeding programs from happening. When it comes to males shutting off food, how often is that happening with you guys? Because I feel like it doesn't happen with me much. I feel like my males always stay steady eating. And I kind of want to talk about why I think that is, but is there anything that you guys noticed to keep a male on food while breeding? Or do you feel like it's kind of, if it happens, it happens, there's nothing you can do about it type of shit? Whoever wants to go first.
To me, it's kind of like when it happens, it happens. And nothing I can really do about it. I just know after probably about 3 weeks or 4 weeks of pairing, and if he's not eating after the 4th week, I'm shutting him down. Depending on his size. If he's a small male, I'm shutting him down. He weighs about 800 to 1,200 grams. I'll give him another month of breeding, but they usually don't take food. In my cases, they don't take food until a couple months later.
Yeah, I mean, I like to get my animals a little bigger before I put them in breeding now. I try to get those males in at that 600 gram range. A lot of times they will go off feed. And sometimes it's tough to get them back on. To get them up to say 850 to even 1,000 grams, in all honesty, you probably don't have that shutdown the first season. So, to be straight with you, I would say only do a couple females in that 600 gram range. Don't push them too hard the first year. You don't want to completely fuck up your next season by an off and on feeder to the next year. Or get them bigger and just take them the distance.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, what's your game plan, Lenny, as far as like, let's say you have a holdback male that is just going to be something really crucial to your projects, and it's something where like sooner the better to get him there, right? But do you have a way of getting a male to be able to breed like how some of these guys do at like 6 months and 7 months, or are you more like getting them ready to go in like a year or so? Like when do you feel like your average male's ready for you when it comes to the ball pythons?
So any male I get my hands on right now at the egg, I can get that male to at least 600 grams to 800 grams in about 6 to 8 months. The issue I run into with every time doing this, they don't breed for me still that year. They just don't want to breed. So just because I get them at that weight, you think their breeding weight size, they just don't breed for me. I have a handful of males that I wish would be breeding for me right now. They're about 600-800 grams. That they're probably about 8 months old, and they're just not breeding. I just don't think they have the age under their belt yet to actually know what they're doing.
And Dave, what you got on that?
I'm kind of in the same boat, but at the same time, man, I've known a lot of people that have been very successful with smaller males. Just for me personally, it usually doesn't work out. So yeah, like I said, I think it's case to case, but no, I know a lot of guys that do very well with young males.
That kind of annoys the shit out of me because like I'm not trying to hate anyone who's good at doing that, but it's kind of like talking to a chondro breeder who believes in like pre first shed meals. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people like to, I'm not a lot of people, but there's certain people who feel like giving a chondro a meal before it's have its first shed, like turns a beast into a chondro, and that does work, I guess. But I also feel like that's kind of the same with some of these people who are like, well, I got breeder males at 6 months and they're fucking, they go to town. I'm just like, well, fuck, you're good for you. But I never had any luck with shit like that. I'll tell you that much. There goes my fucking thumbs up. But I don't know. I feel like do your thing. If you have success with that, then go ahead. But I don't know. Like, because I've had this talk with Mark Bailey a lot too. And I'm like, all right, Mark, if you have some of this success, like are the males putting out viable sperm? Like is the sperm solid because they're young? And he tells me it is. So guess I don't know, man. I mean, shout out to the OGs out there who just fucking been doing this forever. But I don't know. Do you have a little hack with your males, Dave, or no?
I mean, I'm slow and steady with everything, man. That's my life hack. I'm never really in a hurry, so they get there when they get there, and they always tend to work out for me when they do. It's very rare that I'll really pound an animal with food to get it there at a quick time. Yeah.
And it's a good point where Lenny said, because like, cool, you got the animal 600 grams, but it's just probably a big ass kid. It doesn't want to fuck it. It's just like, I'm not ready to get laid yet.
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. So what's the average for you then, Lenny? Like when do you feel like, all right, this male is going to be ready to rock with your experience with first time breeder male ball pythons?
It's kind of like, I guess I noticed over a year. Once they're over a year old, it's like they're like bulletproof. They just put them in, they start breeding, they start going at it. Yeah, it's usually like once they're over a year old, it's like I never have an issue at all. I'm working on I have a Cypress clown right now. Matt, he's probably about 900 grams right now. He's over a year old, so he's finally getting it. But last year when he was about 600 grams, he wasn't doing it, and I was feeding him. But it kind of shows you like you could buy an animal first, you breed it that year, and then breed it the following year, and you're gonna lose that. You could possibly lose out on money. So it's stuff like that too. That I ran in that situation when I bought a banana sterling for $2,000. I even an orange dream I bought years ago for $2,000, and I raised them up and missed out those following years. And the next year, they were just pretty much worth nothing, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, you're just trying to do it for the money. It's like kind of like the animal's gonna do what the animal wants to do. So it's like I kind of realized that. So it's like I don't put much investment in powerful males right now. Like I have. Yeah, it's gonna be unlikely.
Hey, is your phone dying or something, Lenny? I feel like your internet, like your shit's getting choppier and choppier and choppier. You might be going downhill, buddy.
I know we have a lot. We have a lot of rain by us. Maybe I can move into a different room next to the router.
Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Come back just using your cell phone. Yeah. Come back using just your cell phone internet. Yeah, I'll see you right now.
Okay.
You can't teach that kind of stuff, Dave. You got it just comes with a year of podcasting. You just know when to make moves like that. You feel me, buddy? I hope you'll get there. I'm just kidding.
I never know when things are going wrong because they're always going wrong.
No, good episode so far. And yeah, I don't know. One of the biggest things I feel like we're going to get into next, as far as is it smart right now to maybe consider working with something else other than maybe just one species. And this really goes to anyone out there who's looking to do this for the long run. Because I feel like some of the best advice, Dave, I've ever gotten was from a buddy of mine who's still a good buddy of mine, but he told me, like, man, be as diverse as possible, but like, you know, do it in a right way. Right. And I always felt like that was good to have more than just one thing to, you know, present to someone who might inquire about a snake. And I know you're obviously on that end with ball pythons and boas, but he's back.
I think I'm going to make children's pythons for the first time ever, and I'm very excited about it.
You think? Say that again about children's pythons.
I got a children's python. I grabbed one downstairs. I've never bred them before. I just kind of wanted to do it. I'm going to sell them for like $150 a piece, and I'm sure half of them are going to eat. So I'm pretty excited. So yeah, diversify your collection, guys. Get a bunch of shit for no reason.
I think that's great advice. Let's see. How you doing, Lenny? Might even be worse. I don't know. Lenny, go back to Wi-Fi, buddy. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I'm so sorry. I tried.
Okay.
What's the weather like where you're at right now?
Oh man, it's finally above freezing for the first time in like, I don't know, almost 2 weeks. I'll be straight with you. I went out to the reptile building on Monday and there was no water pressure, no water working. I had to run a hose from the house up until this morning. My water turned back on, so my pipes froze. So yeah, that was kind of a pain in the ass. But no, we had some crazy cold here, man. I mean, it was frigid.
So there's the water access in the reptile room was not happening because of the pipes were frozen, is what you're saying.
In the 6,500 square foot building, I had no water for like 4 days. Like the very last day of like this Arctic freeze that we had, all of a sudden my pipes froze. And then it's been like above freezing for the past like 4 days and they unfroze. But I thought maybe a pipe burst, but it's been raining so much, I couldn't tell because the whole property's wet.
Can you do anything to prevent that?
Well, I guess this is the first time it's ever happened here. And my neighbor's pipes froze too. So I think it was just one of those times. It was just too harsh. I think they're like 6 feet under the ground, man. What more can I do? I can't dig holes.
Yeah. There he is. He's back. What's up, Lenny?
What's up, man? Yeah, I had to move into a different room. I think it's that back room.
No, it's all good. It's a lot better now.
Okay.
What were we? Okay, we literally just started fucking going off a whole nother topic right now. But what were we just talking about before the reception got bad?
I think about males, adult males breeding.
Oh yes, right. Okay. Now let me ask you this, Lenny. Is there anything out there that you feel like first time breeders run into? Like, you know, like I mentioned the breeders, like males maybe not getting to size up to their time. But what about like 1,000-gram wall? Were you ever a victim of this 1,000-gram? There he goes. Were you ever a victim of this 1,000-gram wall thing that people could experience in ball pythons that you were able to figure out, Lenny?
Are we talking about males or females?
Female.
Yeah. Female. Yeah, I ran into that a handful of times. Yeah. But what I found out what works is it's just switching the meals. Like, so if they're like rat feeders, I'll go with ASFs or mice. And usually they'll jump back on the feed. I noticed that works out pretty well. Or I'll put them in a smaller tub, try to get them on feed, and then swap them back to the bigger tub.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You know, I also think like switching the size up too, because there's just times where like maybe he doesn't want a small rat. Maybe it's like, fuck, I'm good right now, but maybe I'll take like a wean or something. But I just haven't I haven't had that experience, I think, in years of a female stopping at 1,000 grams. And Dave, how about you? Have you ever had that wall experience? And does that even happen with boas at all, do you feel like?
Boa is very rare, honestly. I think boas are one of the most steady feeders you could have outside of colubrids most of the time. Ball pythons, I mean, when I hit that wall, I hate to say it, it really depends on the animal. You know, like I keep on saying, I'm not always in the biggest hurry, so if it hits a wall, it just goes back on feed when it's ready. If a few months go by and I'm concerned, I'll try something different. But, you know, I'm not going to force these guys to eat if they don't want to.
Yep. Now,
But,
Lenny,
yeah,
oh, we're going to say, Dave, sorry.
enough. And if you want to keep talking about this, you want to talk about diversifying your collection in different species a little bit, like you were saying?
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to kind of pick your brain on, Lenny, is because, you know, you do have y'all are bitching and moaning, right? A lot of people kind of just like maybe kicking rocks because they're not happy on how their things are moving. But these are people who just work with one species of reptiles, right? And I was telling Dave that I was giving advice when I first started getting my obsession going here was, you know, it's best to be diverse, like work with more than just one species if you can. And I took that to heart. Do you feel like it's smart right now for someone who's kind of just wondering what life's going to be like, just working with this one species project, and they should maybe dip into something else and see how that works if they want to be in this forever, you know?
Yeah, I think working with other species definitely helps out a lot. It's funny because I had a I had a 1.2 of Angolans, and I bred them for a few years. And those Angolans sold really quick, and those helped me, you know, buy a Sunset, buy, you know, a lot of double recessives that I have. Like, so it's like without those animals, I wouldn't be able to afford some of the animals or have some of the animals I have now. So definitely worth having different species. You know, I do have Woma pythons. I did recently get rid of my Angolans, which kicked myself in the ass for doing that. But you know,
Yeah, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? That's crazy.
I needed a rack. I needed a Hashling rack. I just Plus, again, I don't know, man. Like I love the Angolans a lot. I have females still. I still have an adult female. So, you know, I have two females. I sold a buddy that I work really close with. So I still have Angolans if I needed some or work with them. So I'm not too worried about not being able to get some.
I'm surprised I didn't keep that. Not keep that, but that was a project I was sodding after for like a good 2-3 years because I didn't give a fuck how popular it was or whatever. That's one of my favorite, you know, species of pythons. Just because it's like everything a ball python isn't, but it resembles a lot of a ball python. You know,
that's so cool. Yeah, that's so.
Yeah,
cool.
they're awesome. You know, from their attitude to like their demeanor to the way they feel. And I guess they're true semi-arboreal. I hear, you know, it's like they'll fucking climb for sure, you know. And I think anything will climb, to be honest. But yeah, Angolans, I don't know, man. I might need to swoop that female off you. I'm not even lying.
Yeah, man, they're cool, bro. They're cool.
Yeah. And Dave, what do you have to say about maybe someone out there wondering, should I get another species or is that dangerous to do or whatever? You know, do you encourage that out there for anyone out there, Dave?
Oh, well, I encourage you if you like the species. You know, a lot of, you know, when we start talking about this diversifying thing and, you know, you think about ball pythons, I think a lot of times that the draw for ball pythons is, wow, this could be a business. Sometimes with some of these other species, it's more, wow, I want to work with these things. So, you know, I think that balance in every collection is good. And honestly, I like a resume with a lot of achievements on there. So I definitely want to get a lot of species under my belt before I'm done, just because there's a lot that I want to work with a little bit. But with ball pythons, like I said, I feel like you can shape a business around that.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like people still need to be okay with that. Like a lot of people are, you know, because you have everyone saying, work with what you love. Don't do this for the money. But come on, relax. Like at the end of the day, it is about the money. But how is it about the money? Like, is it about the money when it comes organically, you know, with just fulfilling in years of just waiting? Then great. Like, because that could happen in anything you do. Like, if you're willing to wait, you can make money in almost fucking anything. So it's kind of like, don't blame the ball pythons for someone who's been in the game for fucking 15, 20 years, who's goddamn, you know, now in real estate selling homes and shit. Like, dude, kick back. People, like, you put in your time in anything and good things, big things could come from it. That's, and dude, why not snakes? Like, if your mind, like Dave says, if you really love the goddamn thing and your heart and your mind's in the right place, and again, you can apply that to anything in life. If your heart and your mind's in the right place, you can make anything a living. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But really, it's just like having your mentality for the well-being of the animal. You know, like can you actually keep an animal alive? Can you keep it fed? And this is a lot of the people who are just coming into this already buying freedom breeder racks and fucking all this. Like, dude, are you even? It's kind of people who want to be plant people. They want to fill their house with plants, but can you keep a plant alive? Because that's the true thing. Like, dude, some people can't keep plants alive. Sometimes I see a plant and I'm like, oh man, I better water that thing. And I do. Other people just walk right by and just go about their day. But it's like, you know, fucking keep a plant alive.
Yeah. Start with that.
I don't know. Am I wrong, Dave?
No, you're not wrong, man. You got to buy yourself a cactus, though.
What about what is it about this year and first time breeders do you feel like should there be a heads up on? Anything for anyone out there who's going into their first time breeding this year? Like, do you have maybe maybe a pro tip or maybe just like a suggestion as far as them going into this year? And it's their first time. And I want to get that from you too, Dave.
Just get your feet wet. You know, don't be discouraged. Get your feet wet. Try it out. You're gonna make mistakes. Depending on what you produce, you might be able to make a couple of dollars. You might have to sit on it for a little bit. But you'll figure it out. You know, the more people you talk to, the more people you involve yourself with, you figure it out. Just don't be quiet. Don't be to yourself. Try to reach out to other people. Don't be, upset if someone gives you information that you may not want to hear. Be open. Remember, people are doing it longer than you are. So just any advice that you can get from someone, accept it.
Facts.
Yeah. I think, your excitement really bleeds out of you when you talk to people if you really love what you're doing. I think that goes a long way. And I would say be true to your brand, man. Don't try to force it. Find something that works for you. Find habits that work for you, or find a species that works for you. But I do think this is a very hard industry to be successful in. And I say that based on the fact I've seen a lot of people go away over the years. Sometimes for personal reasons, sometimes financial reasons. But yeah, man, I mean, come into this with maybe an idea in your head, but don't count your eggs before you have them.
Yeah. All right, let's kind of get into this topic because I want to talk about this specifically because I feel like this is super bottom feeding type energy and activity. And then we're going to talk about what we think as a whole bottom feeders are. Like, what's the definition about that, right? But one thing that I saw like last year, more than one person, was somebody saying either a sad story or whatever, but they have to sell their collection. Either way, the whole collection's up for sale, right? And then, either whatever, they sell it or something happens. You just see that story, and then months go by. Then you see them vending at a reptile show, and they're not out of business. They're fucking fully full and going. And it's like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's just a tactic to get rid of shit. I'm not too sure about that, but I do notice, like Dave said, there's people who things happen in life that they need to get out, and then they come back in. But I just see a lot of people only doing that. And I'm like, dude, I've only been in here for 7 years and I've seen you come and go like fucking 4 times. But then here we are, you know what I mean? So I don't know, like, and I tend to just hang out who I want to hang out with as far as people who motivate me and inspire me. But what's your opinion as far as like, is there a way of being desperate when it comes to selling snakes and people should be considerate with that or what's your guys' take on that?
I feel like people are more desperate now because I think people want to be liked. It's like being in high school in your senior year, you become a freshman. It's like you want to hang out with all the seniors. I feel like people just want to be liked, be relevant. And it's kind of like for the longest, and I just kept quiet. I listened to everyone, see what they were doing, try to learn as much as possible, and just kept quiet. I feel like a lot of people now, they want to, either grab stickers, grab a logo, do this, do that, just pretty much just jump right into it without even understanding what they're jumping into. I feel like, there's a lot more to it than just being popular or hanging out with the popular kids.
On social media, when he says popular, by the way.
Yeah.
We're not talking in-person popularity here. We're talking social media account popularity is what we're talking here.
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah.
I mean, isn't that like the same thing in this community?
I guess so. AI, baby. But Dave, what do you have to say on that?
Well, I agree. I mean, I've always felt like the industry has a little bit of a high school atmosphere to it. You know, tiers on who hangs out with who, who's the cool kid, so on and so forth. I think that's always been here. But I'm sure that's any community. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I agree with what he's saying. I don't know if I have a whole lot to add to that, to be honest with you.
Well, let's get to the bottom of the bottom feeders. Because, I mean, listen, I feel like I should be clear on how I feel that term is laid out, because everyone starts at the bottom of any level. Like when you first dabble into anything, there's an intro level to everything. Like you start somewhere, right? But it's like you come in here with the mentality of growing, I would hope. Like anything you get yourself into, I would hope the mentality is to get better, right? Like I said, I've been in this industry for 7 years now, right? I've seen people's logos, names, or whatever be a part of this since I came in, and I have not seen any kind of growth or any kind of like, I just haven't seen it. And because I've seen people who are doing it. My show's kind of what this show's for. It's about people who are growing and evolving, right? But then I see a lot of these people who've been around just not doing much, but just shit talking and just, you know what I mean? And just really building, because like you said, it's a popularity game. And some of these people are just good at getting popular on social media for whatever reason. Either they're good at talking or whatever the case is. But it's like, man, what have you really done? I kind of look at like, man, I've seen this person around for a long time. I'll even go back like, when was the last time you showed a snake? Like, I have not seen a post from you since 2020, but you're very vocal. You're very active. There's just a lot of those people. I guess they're lingerers. I guess there may be people who had high expectations in 2020 or in 2019 and just didn't go nowhere, but maybe don't have enough going on in their life, so they want to stick around. But when I talk about bottom feeders, I'm talking about those. Like that's, in my eyes, bottom feeder isn't someone who's just got into the game and they're trying to get somewhere. Like, no, that's the exact opposite. That what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who choose to stay where they're at because they're either lazy, they don't have it in them, they're miserable in life. There could be a list. I don't know. We're not going to be here all night talking about it, but I just want to be really clear as far as what I mean by bottom feeders. And it's motherfuckers who've been around for a long time who just haven't gone anywhere or just haven't done anything. Like, other than talk or comment, what have you done? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't know where I want to go next, but
I still have no idea what a bottom feeder is. That's that whole thing. I got an idea. I thought it meant if you were like flipping collections for a second there.
It could be, and that's kind of gross too. I mean, there's levels to this. Like it's there's a lot of bottom feeder energy or activities that we're talking about. I would definitely say flippers. Oh my God, you want to talk about bottom feeding? Like people who've but there's, I mean, yeah, this is why I want to talk about this topic, because that's a very good point right there, Dave. A really good point.
I think you need a new nickname for him.
Yeah, I feel there's a lot of jealous, toxic people. Again, with anything, but mainly a lot of people, they don't like see people just do well or, do good, especially new people, who like spend 20 grand, 30 grand on some animals and they've been doing it for 10 years, 8 years. I know when I was doing it for about, 10 years, 8 years and see Miguel just blow up,
yeah.
It didn't bother me. I was like, damn, I wish I would have done what he did. That's all I wish, I didn't care. I wasn't like, damn, that should have been me. That could have been me. No, that's not me. I'll go my own way. He'll go his way. But if people like that, well, you gotta respect.
I mean, dude, I okay, that's one thing I firsthand saw Miguel do is shut a lot of people up. And really, because you got a lot of people mad because I felt like Miguel was the very first influencer who was comfortable saying, I'm fucking dropping this money on snakes and I make this much money on snakes. And everyone's like, yo, what? Okay, this fool's full of shit. Or like, they just thought he was just going to be in and be out, but dude, he did it so right. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't know, but like I said, that's Miguel. And I don't feel like there's any other Miguel out there. Miguel's he's his own entity and his own shit, something, but yeah, I don't know. Like man, like Dave, like I've been a huge fan of Dave because, his foundation and his history in the reptile industry by itself is, I mean, man, you've come a long ways, right, Dave? I mean, from where you first started being a fucking hockey player.
I mean, I've been bottom feeding off and on this entire career based on your definition, buddy.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I don't know, man. I mean, I think the one thing that you got to remember in these conversations is personalities. We might all have a common interest, but everyone's got their own personality, man.
Yeah, I get
Can't
it.
control that kind of thing.
Yeah, but personality is everything, right? Like okay, Dave, you're one hell of a funny guy, right? And you also have good digs. Like you have good ribs on certain things that you, sir, could get away with because it's Dave Levison talking. Dave has so much to prove of what he's done by so many different species of reptiles. Like there's mad respect when it comes to reptiles and Dave Levison. So guess what? Dave says something like that. It's fucking funny. Even you, Lenny, like, a lot, like I said, I had a lot of people, not a lot of people, quite a handful of people ask me like, what does Lenny actually work with? Like, can you tell us like what he does? I'm like, don't worry, you'll find out tonight. But only because lately what you're known for is your fucking memes. They're blowing up right now. But it also seems like that's all you've been doing since you came in, but that's not the case whatsoever.
No, yeah, it's not. And it's funny you say that because I was actually going to reach out to Miguel because I know Miguel been messaging me a few times about the memes, and I kind of want to ask him like, "Hey, man, you're professional. You're a lot more professional than I will ever be. What do you think I should do with this? Should I just stop doing it, or should I just make a different page?"
I could tell you what he'll tell you to do. Want me to tell you? And you can still ask him, and I guarantee he'll tell you this.
Make a different page. He'll just stop it.
No, you should. What you should do is keep the memes on that page that you have now and start a new reptile page.
Yeah, that's what you say. Yeah.
Because right now, Instagram did you a favor and put you in they put you in an algorithm where people find this shit funny. Like you're in the meme algorithm. So that's why when you went to fucking animal posting again, it was kind of like you're not in that algorithm. You're in something else now.
Yeah.
But if you're like, that's why I asked you, if you're getting really good views and this shit's picking up on your memes more than the animals, well then keep the memes and just start an animal page and just strictly keep that about posting snakes and have that be your business sales page. Because right now the demonic reptiles page it's not really a professional business page, right? No, right?
Which I never wanted that way because I wanted to make it my life, my animals, whatever I want to put on it. But yeah.
Now, let me ask you a serious question. How many people have been offended by your memes and maybe came at you and whatever? Are you getting any pushback with that yet?
Oh, I had one person. I don't think it was directly upset. That they got kind of upset because one of the memes, like someone mentioned the word retarded, and that pretty much I guess was a trigger word. And I just figured, hey, I didn't say it. I know I posted it, but I didn't say it.
Is that the guy who was pretending to be disabled and he wasn't?
No. It was about the meme with the do you guys think you could be bull python breeders?
Oh, right.
And it was the girl saying, "Do you guys believe in aliens?" Yes, because you're retarded. So it's like
there's also the one other one from the movie. I think it might have been the one you're talking about, but she's like, "Are you really retarded?"
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, man, you're really good.
Yeah. See me, I just find it funny, man. I look at like when I'm in a mood, like upset or like I guess just going through some stuff. I like to laugh, so I figured a lot of people want to laugh. So if I find it funny, I'm sure somebody else might. Until someone doesn't find it funny, finds it offensive, I'll just start not doing it or just stop.
I don't give a shit what anyone has to say. Everything you post hits home somehow. Like it's like the biggest one that hit me the most was when the girl was crying and the dad handed her the money and she stopped. Because like I was just kind of in my feelings about some Morph Market inquiries that have been kind of fucking lingering, and I'm just kind of like I almost bitched about it. I wasn't gonna publicly, but I was gonna go to the Patreon members and at least like complain. And right before I could get to the mood of that point, I got a sale and I was like all Mr. Giddy and happy and Mr. fucking motivational and like wanting to tell people to get your head out of your ass. But no, dude, like it's funny, man. I'm telling you right now, you keep that shit going. I just hope I hope it doesn't stop. Like I hope you could keep it going, like with the ideas, and I'm sure you will. But
yeah, I to be honest, man, like I feel like I post too many at once, but I think I could do about 50 a day. when, and it's funny because I got people that message me. They're like, "Oh, stop bashing the bull python. You do this." I'm like, that's why I'm bashing it because I do it.
Okay, think about someone who bashes it, but then they either sucked at doing it or they never did it to begin with.
Exactly.
You are a good example who could talk shit because you're actually a player in the game.
Yeah.
There's people out there who talk shit about breeding ball pythons, and there's records of them sucking at it the entire time, or they never even did anything in it, and they're kind of a fucking they're a facade, they're a fake. And it's like, holy shit, like you shouldn't be speaking if you don't have the actual experience under your belt. But this is what makes everything what you say. And like I said, when Dave, makes a meme public, it's fucking hits. It's because it's coming from Dave. But when do we see when do we see memes public from Dave nowadays? It just doesn't happen anymore. It's unfortunate.
Very rare. I'll start sending Lenny some of my stuff. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. You can even claim it as your own. If I give it to you, it's yours.
Yeah.
I'll appreciate it.
Yeah, seeing a Dave post a public meme is like watching the Jerry Springer fights on TV, where they actually used to let people get their ass beat. That was great.
Never change that meme culture, buddy. If that thing's working for you, there's a draw. I love that because I think about that kind of shit all the time. Because I'd be making them, I don't post them, but I do think that actually helps in the community. I also think I agree with what you guys are saying. If you don't do it, as in not so much the memes, but let's say breeding ball pythons, don't come in talking shit. You got to put in a little time if you want to start making the memes and having fun.
Yeah, for reals. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad you said that, Dave. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, my advice, dude, for sure, don't stop that shit. Now, other than breeding ball pythons, we were talking about diversity a little bit. Is there any other stuff breeding for you this year besides ball pythons, or no?
Oh, I have Woma pythons.
Oh, you said Woma, right?
Yeah, they're paired up. That's pretty much all I really have. I wanted to start working with Kenya Sambos again. I used to breed some Kenya Sambos back in the day.
Have you done Womas before, or are you just
No, this is my first year doing them.
And Dave's, this is what, your third year doing them, Dave? Or how many years have you done Womas now?
I've been doing them off and on for 7 years, but I'm kind of like an every other year breeder with these guys. But no, this will be another one going for me. As you know, man, those eggs can be an absolute bitch. There's a bunch of ways of doing it. Now, I'd say get some Sims containers. You got to do it. It makes a big difference. And honestly, Mike Schultz had a lot of luck this year just putting a Reptile chip in the bottom, having the egg suspended on top on that little rack. He had a 100% success rate. I tried a couple different things this year. I failed some eggs.
Are they like Angolan eggs or no?
Well, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I just know if you literally get one droplet of water on them, just assume they're all dead. So you got to be really careful. And you got to keep them dry, but you got to keep them damp enough. So that's why I think that suspended in the Sims box is the way to go.
Okay.
And you said Mike used cocoa chip substrate on the bottom, or what was he using on the bottom?
Yeah, use like Reptile chip on the bottom.
Pretty saturated, like really saturated.
Yeah, I don't think there's any limitations. I know some people that use cricket jelly. I've heard really good things with that, keeping the moisture up and not getting the egg damp. I've heard just a sponge in the bottom. Yeah. I think there's a lot of different ways you can do it, to be honest with you. The main thing is just do not let a droplet of water get on them. And I also find sometimes when you put the container in there, if you put it at an angle, so as the water starts building up on top, it'll roll down the sides. You don't have to worry about it dropping right on the eggs.
Yeah. And then also shout to Benny Bender. But Benny what he does is he gets one of those shish kebabs, and I guess he I forget how he does it, but he places it center of the sim container where it just barely raises the lid, but it's enough to where the drops go they go down the sides versus coming direct down.
I like that.
Yeah, and also, so with these, I'm curious because we don't talk a lot about Woma pythons, but I do see the levels of Woma pythons as far as vibration with some of the orange, and some of them look different than others. How does that work with Womas? Are they lines of lineages of them, or how come some look a little bit more primo than the others? I'm just curious.
So I mean, personally, I've seen some things that come from a certain breed, certain lineages, certain lines. Other than that, I mean, here's the thing. I think that there's a lot of new people getting in Womas right now. I don't know if many of them have had directions, but Mike's got a dark line he's working on that looks amazing. We have some that get these really great lime greens and yellows on the side. Rec Room had some really awesome Womas. Hopefully they're still working with their Woma stuff today. But I don't know if there's ever been a set direction, but now that the price has gone up a little more on them, which is a good thing, it's going to get more people willing to invest in them. And I think there's a lot of different directions we could take them, but I just don't think we've done it yet. And we don't have any true morphs here, and everything we see is done in Australia.
Yeah. And then, I mean, what's the deal with your line that you're working with right now, Lenny, as far as your more?
I got mine from Rec Room. My little neonates, they're breeding now, but one's more of a darker. The male's more darker, but the female's just bright orange with a sunbeam burst belly, just really bright red belly. I don't know if that's going to mean anything with the offspring, but it is really bright, bright orange, burnt orange belly.
Right on.
Yeah, like I said, there's gonna be some orange lines worth working with that people will start developing probably from their nail on. Like I said, there'll be some dark lines. I'm sure we're gonna start seeing some reduced pattern lines. I know there's already reduced pattern line stuff down there. I see that Daytona every single year.
Yeah,
It's kind of a
Daytona.
little bit of breeder.
Yeah,
Um,
they
so
had,
yeah,
a lot of zigzag stuff in Daytona the last time I went.
yeah, I think that's right. But no, I mean, with any species, man, you don't really know what you're going to do with it until you have a direction. You kind of need something to pop up. So we'll see what pops up in the United States, and then we'll have lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you guys feel like the market was affected at all with the Womas, with everything how it is? Like, I mean, how is it right now selling a Woma python, Dave?
I think it's stronger than it's been in years, and they're going for a lot more money than they did just a couple years ago.
So I don't know what they're going for now, but I know when I bought my pair, I bought the pair for $450 the year before COVID happened, and I'm sure they're probably about $500 now. I'm assuming each.
It's cheap.
Females during COVID went as high as $800. I think Mike might have sold one of his dark ones for over $1,000, over $2,000. You know, it's just finding the right buyer. That's you know, they like the project, but no, they used to be that $150, $250 all day long. Now it's a $300 to $800 animal, depending on where you're at.
Dave, do you have a topic you want to get in before we get into some of the wrap up stuff here?
Well, honestly, it's kind of up to you, man. I know me, I get weird when we start talking about new species. I can go back to ball pythons for a minute, but how about this? So, you know, everyone's going 4 quad, 3 quad, not 3 quad, but triple recessive kind of stuff. What do you think for you are going to be the foundation codoms? Like, if you're going to run 3 or 4 in there, you're going to really devote your time, and we know one's going to be chocolate. Do you have a few more that you like really think are going to be good for your projects?
I like Cypress a lot. Working with Cypress, and now I'm working with this other gene called the Shredder. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Shredder gene.
I know the Shredder gene. I got a male out in the building. I just have never really done anything with them.
Yeah, so I'm kind of messing around with that. I think it could have potential. So just messing around with that as well. For the codoms, pretty much. Oh yeah, pretty much stuff like that. I'm trying to think what else. Everything is. I'm so recessive heavy. I forget what I'm really working with sometimes. Yeah, I think this is shredder stuff, cypress and chocolate primarily.
The direction, man. And honestly, chocolate is good at Hypo and DG, especially when you get all of them together.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, my shredder stuff also had clown, so you know, hopefully I can throw that into the clown stuff.
You said shredder?
Yeah. I posted a picture on my Instagram. I know, bro. I hate the name.
No, I mean, it's another one. Here we go. Let me write this one down. 1 second. Fuck. Shredder.
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
I posted a picture on Instagram. You probably gotta dig through it since I have all those memes now.
Yeah, no shit.
But Jeremy got them in from a buddy, and he didn't want. You know, he's not trying to work with ball pythons much, so I pretty much just snagged them from Jeremy. So now I got them.
And what's the deal? Like, what's the story behind them? Like, was it come from Europe, or like was it an import? What's the deal with it?
To be honest, man, he showed me them, told me about them. I just like, yo, those are cool. I didn't ask much. There's not much really that I could find on them. You know, I can't really find much on them. I didn't really dig deep into it. But they're definitely cool and unique.
All right, maybe you can help me find them because I got to the snake section of your page. I had to go through a fucking 1,000 memes. Do you know where they're at? Where from this?
Yeah, go up higher. You shoot higher. No, up.
Oh, higher.
Yeah. There's gonna be 3 snakes. So keep going up. Yeah, keep going up. It was pretty recent. It was like yesterday or the other day I posted them.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah.
3 snakes.
Yeah.
Here we go. This one right here.
There you go.
All right, where's it at? This is it?
So the all shredder stuff. The shredder's on the left-hand side. Then the middle, you have a shredder pastel butter. And on the right, you have a shredder butter.
I don't know. I just how do we know this is a shredder though? Like, how do we know that this isn't just something else? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, again, it could be, I'm not too sure what, I haven't really seen anything like this. I'm not saying it's not something else. I'm sure it probably is. But I can't think of anything that I've seen that looks like this.
Paint's not, is it paint kind of like this, or am I tripping?
No.
If I compare it to anything at this point, I'd said it's a little bit like the shrapnel gene that Chad Hawker was working with. You got that voodoo gene that Bob has. That's kind of like that kind of granite type side in a codom. Shredder is a little different in the single gene form. It has less of that granite on the side. To tell you the truth, my male is a pastel lesser, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with them yet. I think I got them from Steve with Reptile Collective, and I've just had them for like 3 years. Maybe this year I'll play around with them a little bit. I haven't seen anything in the project, and I don't even know who started it.
Yeah, same.
So what's your game plan? First and foremost, is this a recessive or incomplete dominant?
Incomplete. There's a super form. Pretty much since that one's the 100% head clown, the other two are pos head clowns. I'm not too worried about that because I don't want to put everything to clown. And since it's butter, I gotta stay away from putting the butter stuff in the porridge. But again, I like to see it in chocolate. I like to see it in paint, and probably it might be decent with definitely would be decent with the hypo, maybe puzzle, stuff like that. Yeah.
But your game plan is to put this in a super form?
I would like to potentially not heavily into the super form because I don't think it's gonna really bring much value. But it's also the single gene stuff, the way it looks. The super form looks a little bit more different. It's not too crazy, so the super form's it's not intense, in my opinion. What I've seen, it's not really that intense.
Okay.
No, I think you go on the paint route's a great route. Anything that's going to add a little more to that side pattern is going to be great. Most of my focus of the paint project are genes that affect the lower half of the body of the animal.
Yeah.
All right, I got a wrap-up question for you, Lenny, and then if you want to get one ready, Dave, that'd be great. But my wrap-up question for you, Lenny, is going to be simply this: how does somebody in 2024 just coming into this know who to buy from when it comes to specific projects? Like, what would be your best piece of advice for someone? Because obviously there's a lot of availability, right? But then again, it's like easy to be, I don't want to say bamboozled, but you might want to consider picking projects from certain people. I feel like certain people have better quality of stuff, right? But what's your advice for anyone out there to make sure they pick up from the right person?
So funny you said that. I was actually having a conversation last night with my cousin. Her and her boyfriend just recently got into a ball python, so they called me because the 3 snakes that they bought from a reptile show aren't eating. So it's
That's not funny. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying.
No, yeah, they're like, it's been 2 weeks and not eating, so they're already hitting the panic button. So it's kind of like, I know, being a noob or just buying animals, you kind of like worried why the animals isn't eating. So I had to explain to her how that stuff works. But as goes to buying, who to buy from, man, I don't want to keep saying buy from the big breeders because a lot of small people like myself have nice stuff and have affordable stuff. But definitely, don't look for the cheapest stuff. Don't look for a deal. There is still good deals from reputable people, but the cheapest stuff out there on Craig, don't be buying from Craigslist mainly. Buy from someone that. Check their name, see if they have an Instagram, a YouTube, maybe a Morph Market, check their ratings, go from there.
What you got, Dave?
If you didn't need the money and you were just going to work with the species, would you stick with ball pythons or you got something else you'd move into?
What was the question, Dave?
If you were going to work with a species that wasn't ball pythons, like if you didn't need the money, it wasn't so much for the investment, what would you work with?
Like I mentioned earlier, Kenya sand boas, but if we're gonna pick a different one, it would probably be leopard boas.
Oh, cool. Hi.
Yeah, I like leopard boas a lot, especially the blood leopards, the hypo leopard boas. I like that stuff.
Yeah, no, I like the leopard boa project. I got a lot of stuff going with that. I got a female I got to set up to throw on her this year. I need some new hets.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. I love that stuff.
Your boy's been going to town, Dave. Remember the IMG I got off you a while ago?
Looking good.
He's fucking pounding, bro. Yeah, he's a little guy, but his pee-pee isn't. I'll tell you that much. Hey, listen, Lenny, this round 2 was epic, bro. I appreciate you so much. We just had shy of 120 people tapped in. So what do you have to say to everyone who really rocked with you tonight? And just, I mean, first and foremost, people were all a big fan of your reels out there. What do you have to say to all your big support, man?
I appreciate it. I really do. You know, I just appreciate everyone. I constantly get messages from a lot of friends. I talk to a lot of people in the industry. I consider them brothers, sisters. You know, I consider them more family than actual family I have. So I appreciate everyone tonight to watch me, listen to me, hang out with us. I appreciate it, guys. I really do.
Hey, you're my family, Lenny. I appreciate you, dog.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, hey, real quick. So for anyone to kind of just be on top of, okay, well, I mean, we kind of talked about this. So what are you going to do for the time being? Are you going to be doing snake and reels or memes, or are you going to be are you going to go balls to the walls and making a new page, or just let's update people before you leave tonight. What are you going to do with that?
I think what I'm going to do, I just think about it right now off the top of my head. I think I might just maybe weekends or 1 or 2 days out the week just do memes and you know, and then just do the snakes, you know.
Fuck it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Demonic Reptiles, guys, go give him a follow. I'll put actually you could go ahead and click on his account in the description below, but give it up for the homie Lenny. It's a wrap. Demonic Reptiles, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night, Lenny. Thank you, buddy.
Good night. Thank you.
Peace. Man, have you seen his work? Have you like kind of seen all his reels? Have you followed it or no? Because I know you're not an Instagram.
I don't Instagram.
You got to.
If you didn't post it on Facebook, but honestly, I was stalking him a little bit as we had him on my other phone. So I'll probably start paying attention now that I know what's going on. Everyone else is paying attention to it.
Please just go like tonight, maybe if you have time, just glance at some of them. You're gonna fucking love it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm on it. I promise, man. I love memes.
Well, listen, Dave, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's always a pleasure. It's good to have you with the first podcast of the year on Trap Talk. But what would you have to say to just a shy of 120 people who are tapped in tonight?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you giving me a call and inviting me on, and let's do something soon and get some real high energy people, man. We've never even done chat together, have we?
No, we need Chad, but Chad's a busy guy, but we need to figure that out. We might need to have to do a pre-record episode with Chad because of his work schedule, which is still worth doing. I'm gonna already have a couple pre-recorded scheduled episodes lined up for this year, so we'll make it happen. We'll get Chad on the show for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk to him, man. We'll make it work.
I need that duo. I need that Chad and Dave duo. That's fucking would be. I would need a shirt. You would have to be shirtless the whole time.
We can both go shirtless, buddy.
All right. I mean,
I want to see that dad bod.
All right, man. Guys, please go give my man Dave Levison a follow. Custom Scales. If hopefully he logs on Instagram sometime soon. But man, go enjoy the rest of your night. I appreciate you. I love you, and appreciate you. Is that your farmer buddy? Who's that?
That's my neighbor Terry.
What's up, Terry?
I'm
Hey,
going to fix everything that's broken.
you're the hey. Everybody needs a Terry in their life. I'll
That's
tell
right,
you
it's
that.
a Terry, buddy.
No, actually, Dave couldn't live without a Terry. We're discussing that tonight.
Hey, good luck, Dave. Holy shit.
I love your laugh, man.
All right,
Thanks,
guys,
bro.
get up for my boy Dave Levison. It's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. All right, buddy. Peace out. Whoa, that guy came out of nowhere, and he was huge. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to everyone who stayed and hung out with us tonight. I appreciate it. This is your first time hanging out. Hit the likes button right now for I was gonna say Terry, for the homie Lenny. All right, Demonic Reptiles. Such a great episode and funny to see. Listen, at the end of the day, don't talk shit unless you got that experience under your belt. Otherwise, you just ain't got room to talk. Lenny, hilarious, and he has the projects to back it up, and he definitely has longevity when it comes to his brand. So shout out to the homie Lenny for coming back. Shout out to Dave Levison. It's my boy. Always a pleasure to have Dave be a part of this. And shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to everyone in the live chats. You guys are my heart. Shout out to my trappers. Remember, if you want that exclusive content, if you want to support what I have going on further than what you see, make sure you head over down to the very first link you see in the description below. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family, and then join the Discord, and then join the IG group chat, but it's going to go down. And then also, guys, I kind of gave you guys like a tiny bit of a insight of what happened to me over this week, right? My room got flooded. All right. Now I went ahead and vlogged that whole experience. It was nuts. So if you kind of want to see what it was for me to have this room flooded, and you're like, what the fuck? Your room got flooded? Yeah, dude, this room got flooded. All of San Diego is underwater, just in case you didn't know. And we're not used to that shit. So, but anyways, I was quick on my feet. And I went ahead and vlogged it. So make sure that you head over to my other YouTube channel right there, the Trap Reptile Vlogs. This is where I drop my vlog every Friday, 6:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right. And that's where you're going to see this week's vlog. And I appreciate all the love and support that I get on that channel. I really do. And I think at some point, once I consistently get to the number I want of Fridays that I've been doing vlogs, I'm going to switch it to 2 vlogs a week. All right. So go support me on that channel. It means everything. And cannot wait to update you guys on everything I have here. And yes, my travels across the country, even across the world, are coming back very shortly. I'm already scheduling some of my trips for 2024. So Trap Talk, remote Trap Talk podcasts are about to go down. And I hope you guys are ready. So again, thank you for all the love and support, man. Shout out to the chats. You guys are beautiful. I'll catch you guys here Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Salute to your weekend. Be safe. But that's a wrap for episode 444 for Lenny, Demonic Reptiles. Have a good night. I'll see you guys here on Monday, and I'm out. Cheers.